Welcome back to Ask the Trade Pros, a show where a couple trade guys talk about trade stuff. We're here to answer all of your questions about your HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and other home systems so you can keep your home running smoothly. I'm Todd.
And I'm Jordan.
In previous episodes, we've talked a lot about what it takes to be a trade pro and what customers should look for when hiring one. But have you ever wondered what our normal day or routine looks like?
As much as we love drinking coffee, or in some people's cases, Irish coffee, and recording podcasts, this isn't usually part of our day-to-day life as trade pros. So today we're going to pull back the curtain a little and give you an idea of what a typical day looks like for a trade pro. So yeah, trade pros start their day early generally. Now we're out here, it depends on the season. Sometimes back east they're a little bit different because it gets cold, or up north it's a little bit cold. But here in the Southwest, in the summer, they usually try to start before sunrise. Ideally, we're plumbers, electricians, AC. We start a little bit later, but a roofer, somebody like that, they're going to want to be on that roof sun up. So they start real early, generally wake up, sometimes not with the alarms, get in the habit of doing it. Trade pros make a lot of bad coffee. Like, we have very good coffee in our office. We have fresh ground, properly made, but you leave it to a traditional trade pro and they will just put 20 scoops of coffee in a cup and add some hot water and then off to work.
Yeah, right. Very true. I would say for me, it's get up early, go to bed early, have a routine. My routine is just what Jordan said. The very first thing I do when I get up is I don't go to the bathroom. I walk straight to the coffee maker and make a cup of coffee. And I can't do anything, get my brain going until I have that morning coffee and wake up. Once I have that, then my day begins. And it does start early. So here, HVAC season, obviously, you want to be out of the heat, and typically you don't wrap up on an early day during HVAC season, but you want to get as much done. And yeah, HVAC season here is obviously hot, so you want to get up early, and you're making your money during the summer. Get up early, start early, work late. HVAC season runs here probably 6 months out of the year, so that's when you're making most of the money. Unfortunately, here in the winter, we don't really have a lot of
So I guess you're saying
broken heaters.
the day in the life of a trade pro, it depends a little bit on which kind of trade pro you are. As we talked about, roofers start early. HVAC is very seasonal, very summery, very heat oriented. So they're going to have to prepare for the heat. We have all kinds of tricks for the heat. You have cooling fans, you have cooling devices. So the typical trade, depends on the company. You either go straight to your job site if it's a larger job, or you dispatch that way, or you'll come into the office and do some kind of lining out. That happens a lot in meetings, trainings. We do a lot of trainings with Dunright Services. They actually come in for a lot of in-house trainings first thing of the day, technical training, skills trainings, whatnot. So that's how they start the day. They'll meet there, they'll do a training, they'll get ready to go, they'll get lined out by the manager depending on what their jobs or calls are for the day at that point. Maybe stock some parts and drink more coffee because they're all tired.
So let's talk about a typical day here, Jordan, for a technician.
Okay, which type of technician? Because obviously electricians and plumbers and HVAC are a little bit different.
Well, I mean, most of the technicians,
They all start about the same, and then the course of the day kind of changes.
yeah, I guess it depends on the amount of calls you're running, what your day looks like. But once a tech gets out the door and heading to his calls, what you can expect is, depending on the day, a lot of driving, right? So
a lot of driving. Like, I just had a conversation with somebody earlier today about technicians spend a lot of time alone. They have audiobooks, they have podcasts they listen to, driving around in a truck. I don't do it as much anymore, but when I was a full-time technician, I drove 30,000 miles a year.
yeah, and during that drive time, obviously you're eating on the road.
Well, hopefully not, because we all gain weight. New technicians do gain usually 20 pounds when they first roll out in their own truck.
Yeah, you're constantly moving, going call to call. You're trying to be within an arrival window, a time frame, and if depending on those time frames, one thing goes wrong, you're running behind, you have to eat on the go. So you don't really your day really can't be planned out as well as a lot of people think it can be planned.
Yeah, and that's where the different trades makes a difference, right? So generally, electricians have a pretty set schedule. They're pretty good. There are occasional electrical emergencies, power outages. We have shortings, arcs, but they're not quite as common. Whereas a plumber's day service technician plumber is made up entirely of unknown calls, usually because things come in. Plumbing emergencies happen all the time. They have a little less certainty in their schedule. And then an HVAC technician, as we talked, could be seasonal, right? So in the winter, pretty straightforward. This is Tucson, Arizona. It's 73 degrees in the middle of winter. It is not, there are really no emergencies for the most part from us. Occasionally some elderly person needs heat or something of that nature, but generally not that bad. But in the summer, it's different. It's like the plumber. There are calls all day long and they're all emergencies.
Yeah, and you can expect to work on the HVAC side long hours. Plumbing, electrical, like Jordan says, pretty consistent throughout the year. HVAC obviously is above and beyond during the summer. That first week, it's over 100.
Triples, quadruples. Yeah, we've had weeks where we work 7 days a week, sun up to sundown for weeks on end.
Straight, yeah, weeks straight.
But so the technician goes, he gets lined out, however he starts the day, whether it's straight from home or straight from or out from the shop. Then he's going to go to his calls. He's usually going to have some jobs assigned, calls assigned. Oftentimes, like we said, they worked alone. They're going to go drive, as Todd said, drive around town. Generally, you have the best routing you can. Occasionally, there's going to be long stretches of driving, a lot of traffic in between calls. So it's not just work time. There's a lot of commute time to be able to service the service area, and customers don't always understand that. Some customers are very understanding. Other customers want like a strict window, and the only way you have a strict window is if the guy's basically sitting around waiting for that next call.
Yeah, if you're busy, who knows how long the previous job is going to take. Like you said, plumbing. Hey, our plumbers, you have a water leak. You don't have any other details, so you don't know if that water leaks in a wall or 6 feet underground, and you have that arrival window. So sometimes calls need to be rerouted and given to somebody else, so their day is constantly changing and evolving as it goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety. So in the day in the life of a plumber, there's a lot of variety. Now, there's different types of plumbing. So there's new construction, retrofit construction, day work plumbing. That's pretty steady. When you do that kind of work, you have your day shift, you have X amount of tasks you got to do in the day. You kind of know what's ahead. Service plumbing, you never know. Those guys have to be ready to change, and your schedule might start off with a couple calls, and like Todd said, you go to the first one, and what looked like a minor problem turned into a major problem. Or you get a commercial water leak at a commercial building, or you get a residential flood. And of emergencies, those are emergencies, right? They will cause more damage. They will ruin things. So you cannot pull off of them. You have to go to them. You have to start working, and you don't know the scope of the work. Like Todd said, it could be, maybe it's just a busted faucet and you just, or a hose bib or something, you fix it. But a whole water line or in a wall or something, it could be a large project. And you got to start it with it and at least try to get some sort of resolution for a customer, which could turn what looked like a, couple hour call into an all day call. Electricians, not so much, right? They have a pretty steady schedule. And occasionally we have electrical burns or emergencies. We get a lot of storms. So during the storms, electricians are going to have a chaotic schedule, but normally not, because things will short out and pop in a storm, but not otherwise.
Yeah. Every other trade says that what do they call the electricians? Like
lazy.
Prissy.
Yeah. They're lazy.
Don't like to get dirty.
Yeah. They don't have to do any hard work. They just yeah, they get a lot of slack from other trades. But then again, plumbers are afraid of electricity, so you have that too.
They are.
Really, they're afraid of it. But it depends too. The physicality of the work and all that stuff is different based on the trades. Like Todd was saying, out here where we live. Now, there are other communities. I talked to a guy the other day who's from San Diego, and he moved out here we're in Arizona. He moved out to Arizona for a trade, and I asked him why he did that. He said, well, I'm in the air conditioning business in San Diego, and there's not a whole lot of work. It's 75 degrees all the time. He's like, you got kind of a couple of calls each day, and that's it. Like, it's scheduled. Whereas out where we are here, like Todd was saying, during the summer season, it's chaotic. You could triple or quadruple the volume of work you have to handle as a company. And those are very long days, very hot days, very stressful days. You're going into hot attics. You're going into very dusty places. Everywhere you go, the air's not working. So
yeah, it can be brutal.
Diet is bad for trade people. We just talked about a little bit about gaining weight, but Todd can attest to this. You go out and you start a day you think it's going to be 8 hours, and then it's 12 hours. Well, you only packed a lunch. So now what do you do, right? You go out and you eat something unhealthy or something bad or something quick because you're rushing off to that last call so you can get done.
You go through the closest drive-through, whatever it is.
Well, not if it's Jack in the Box.
And I'm walking proof of it.
Todd does love a good burrito.
Yes, I do.
So you have a day in the life of Trade Pro has that. You're working out of a truck and whatever that entails. A lot of office workers don't understand that relationship because they have, I mean, yes, you sit in a chair, but you have access to a fridge, you have access to a microwave, you have access to oftentimes a table or utensils. As a Trade Pro, you have access to whatever your truck does. Now, I know I used to do it, some of the Quick Marts and QTs and convenience stores would let you use their microwave to heat something up. But otherwise, you don't have those normal luxuries that people are used to.
You don't need that anymore. Now they sell it, the heating and cooled lunchbox that you could just plug right into the van.
I had one. Black & Decker made me one. You could do heating or cooling. You could even have one section heat, one section cool. It was great, but it doesn't keep your soup warm enough to eat. It just kind of warms it up.
Well, here during the summer, you don't need a microwave. You just take it,
just put it on your
set it on the dashboard, and
true enough,
by the time
150 degrees.
By the time you're done with the call, it's ready to eat.
Make a little solar oven,
even if it's frozen.
Yeah. Make a little solar oven with a little aluminum around it, just reflect the light in it. You can. That's another thing people don't understand from the life of a service pro is restrooms, right? Like as a general rule of courtesy, you don't use a customer's restroom because obviously if you're clean and if you get dirty or whatnot, you don't want to dirty up their restroom. So you have to find a public space to use. And sometimes that's easy and sometimes that's not. Out here, we've had a problem with vagrancy in some of the restrooms, so all of them now are locked and unusable. There's very few public restrooms you can use driving around, and people don't realize that. A Trade Pro has to find that.
Yeah, and you'll learn that real quick, where all the bathrooms are.
Especially if you like burritos.
Yeah, what bathrooms you're allowed to use.
Oh, you used to know all the locations. Like when you drive around, the weird things you learn in town, you learn where all the good locations are, right?
Yeah, and if you're on the side of town you're not familiar with, you call the next guy and say, hey, you live up here, where's the bathrooms at?
It's true though, right?
It is true, yeah. Or you could be like me, if you had a van, then you carry around a bucket with the snap-on toilet seat. And, for those emergency cases.
I'm laughing, but it's true. Like some of the guys have had to do it. It's like camping. You get stuck.
Yeah.
You get stuck in traffic. You get stuck on the road. You get stuck other places. So there is that. Yeah. One of the other things Trade Pros always have to consider is safety. We do a lot of OSHA training, a lot of safety trainings, and the safety risk vary tremendously based on both your trade or, as you just said, Todd, time of the year, weather, all that stuff. That matters, right? Winter, you have ice and snow and sleet. Summer out here, you have heat warnings and heat exhaustion and heat stroke. That's a very common.
Third-degree burns on your hands if you're on a roof working on AC equipment.
Yeah, the sun is that hot here, right? So you have safety equipment. You have to carry various safety equipment. There's time and effort to that. There's time and preparation. It slows you down. You coning stuff off, putting your proper sun gear on or your proper ice gear on cold winters when you got to climb on a roof or even on sidewalks and driveways and stuff like that. You have electrical safety concerns. You have in plumbing. You have sewage safety concerns. There's a lot of day of the life of a Trade Pro, depending on your trade, but there's a lot of safety focus too. You have to spend a lot of time and effort devoted to safety preparation. Of course, different trades meet different types of days. So if you're curious, reach out to your local trusted Trade Pro. We'd like to take a moment right now to recognize our producer, Rachel, who is quitting on us. No, just kidding. She's decided to move on to other pastures, and she may return to us when she comes to miss us because we're such fun guys, right, Todd?
Yeah, we'll see. That's what the hope is. So if you don't hear any more episodes from us, make sure you're sending emails and
hateful emails to Rachel. Get back to work.
Get back to work. We'll give you her phone number so you can start calling her.
Yes, we have no problem with you doxing her. I have her home address. You can send her messages. We're okay with that. She has managed to make us sound intelligent and literate for several episodes now, and we might not sound so much without her.
So we don't know what the future's going to hold.
And it's all your fault, Rachel. No, here, we're going to turn the mic around for a minute and let Rachel talk on it and say goodbye.
All right. Yeah. Hi, this is Rachel. I've been working with Jordan and Todd since we started this podcast a couple years ago. It has been a lot of fun. Gonna miss coming in and
waiting for Jordan.
Yeah, waiting around, long hours, editing and cutting things together. It's been a real joy, and I hope to hear more episodes, and we'll see what the future holds. So yeah, it's been a pleasure.